The term Aryan, please explain its origins. Why it became Aryan when it was originally Arya? Why were the Nazis so obsessed with this term, and why did they corrupt it in Western Hemisphere? And why is it that even today, when why is it that they equate the swastik symbol as something negative even today? And Shubh says the Sanskrit word Arya refers to a person with a dharmic code of conduct. How was it anglicized to Aryan to become a racial term? Also, why are Persians considered Aryans when they left the dharmic code of conduct? Okay, what does the term Arya mean? The original term Arya, it's a Sanskrit term. It means someone who is noble, not by blood, but by comportment, by behavior, by lifestyle. You have a noble lifestyle. Your behavior is that of a noble person. It was not a racial term, it was a term of civilizational refinement. Okay, a superior person by behavior. That's what it meant. So that is the original term, the original meaning of the term Arya. It was never Aryan, it was Arya. Then the Persians, who are our own people, they migrated westwards, the Parshva people, and they founded what is now Persia. And they started using the term Arya as an ethnic self-designator. So they started using the term as the name of their ethnicity. So for them, it no longer meant noble. It meant us, the people, the Parshva people. We are the Arya people. That's what they started using the term as. So the original term was the Sanskrit term Arya, and then the Persians started using that as the name of their ethnicity. So the only two peoples who have the right to call themselves Arya are the Indians and the Persians. No one else. Okay. Now what happens is that the Europeans, when they rediscovered India with Vasco da Gama in 1498. When they started coming to India and discovering India and interacting with Indians and learning India's culture, languages, they started suddenly seeing these weird similarities between Indian languages and European languages. Striking, shocking similarities between Sanskrit and Greek and Latin. And I'll not go into the details because they are very obvious. So it was very clear these languages are clearly related to each other. The words for mata, pita, bhrata, so many words, essentially the same in these languages. And which is the oldest of the languages? Is it Greek? Is it Latin? Is it Sanskrit? It's clearly Sanskrit. Right? And Persian language, the old Persian language was like an Apabhransha version of Sanskrit. So there was that also. Right? So all of this fit together. Then the Europeans discovered the term Arya. Now, and then Max Muller brought in his Aryan invasion theory, and he force-fitted everything into the 4,000-year time span of the Christian calendar or whatever it is, the creation of the universe by Yahweh and all that. And that is the beginning of the misrepresentation of Indian history and the beginning of the Aryan invasion, migration, tourism, picnic myth. Now the Germans, their nation is an artificial nation created in 1871 by Otto von Bismarck. And the Germans suffered humiliation in the First World War. And there was this tremendous sense of, we need to do something about this. And that gave rise to the National Socialist Party, Nazi Party, and Adolf Hitler. So the Nazis, they sought to revive Germany. They sought to make Germany great again. Okay? Make Germany great again. MGGA. That's what they wanted to do. And they wanted something to rally the people around. So their idea was that the Germans are the supreme race in the world. The Übermensch, the superior man, the master race. That the Germans and the Nordic people, the Northern European people, are the superior master race. And in the 19th century, because they had discovered, the Europeans, that there are similarities between the Indians, between Sanskrit and these old languages, they also discovered the term Arya. So they started using the term not Arya but Aryan for all the Indo-European peoples who probably obviously had descended from a common group, if you look at the linguistic evidence. And because the Europeans were the dominant race in the world at the time, because they'd colonized most of the world, they decided that the origin of the Indo-European people was in Europe, not in India, even though Sanskrit is the oldest language and so on. So they started this revisionism of history, which is now the mainstream history. And if we go against that, we are revisionists today. They started the revisionism of history. So they completely distorted history, and they claim that the Europeans are the master race, the original Aryans, and the Germans just took it forward. So the Germans wanted this term for themselves, Aryan, because it gave them the prestige of the association with these two ancient civilizations, India and Persia. So they misappropriated this term Aryan. And once again, the swastik symbol, which obviously originates in India, and it has a very positive, auspicious connotation, and it's found essentially on almost on every continent. Now, this symbol was also found in Europe. It was a symbol of auspiciousness. If you look at the Finland Air Force, let's look at that, shall we? Okay. Finland Air Force swastika. So the Finland Air Force, it used to have this marking, and this was not Nazi. The swastika was found all across the world. It was always regarded as a symbol of auspiciousness, and it is also a symbol that originates in India. It is associated with the Arya culture. So the Nazis appropriated and stole the swastika also. Now the old German flag had three colors: red, black, and white. Okay, old German flag. Let's see. Old German Empire flag. What's it look like? This was the set of colors: red, black, and white. So Hitler took the swastika, he twisted it around, gave it those colors, and made it look like something similar to the communist hammer and sickle. Okay, communist hammer and sickle. Check this out. Something similar to this, right? So it became a direct competitor to the communist hammer and sickle, the Nazi ugly, evil version, distortion of the swastika, the Hakenkreuz. So that's the origin of all these distortions, misappropriations. And today the word Aryan is regarded as a white supremacist word, which is so wrong. We are the Arya people. We and the Persians are the Arya people, nobody else. The Europeans aren't Arya. They are un-Arya, by the way. Un-Arya. Now, Shubh says Arya means a person with a dharmic code of conduct, a noble code of conduct. So that's how it was anglicized to Aryan, etc. But why are the Persians considered Aryans when they left the dharmic code of conduct? Yeah, after the reign of Kurush, Cyrus the Great, they adopted the religion, or the religious version of Zarathustra, which kind of inverted Hinduism, which was a rebellion against Hinduism, and it no longer followed the Vedic ways of life. Before Zarathustra, the Persians followed the Vedic ways of life. But Zoroastrianism brought in a different way of life, which was non-Vedic, which was essentially a rebellion against the Vedic way of life. So if the Persians left the dharmic code of conduct, how can we call them the Arya? Because they chose to call themselves Arya, even though they had left the dharmic code of conduct. Now, if we insist that only people who have the dharmic code of conduct can be called the Aryas, then 99% of people in India can't be called Arya today. Because 99% of Indians, maybe more, no longer follow the Vedic way of life. So let's not be overly judgmental.